What is up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. I hope you guys had yourselves a great weekend. We are back to do a quick little video talking about Supergirl. So a couple of weeks ago, Variety, and we kind of we covered this in a video as well, but Variety had an interview with Milly Alcock, who is playing Supergirl. Actually, the movie actually drops this month. Well, not this month, next month in June. I think a month from now. I think it's like June 20. Let's see. It's about close to a month now is when it drops. Yeah, yeah. Tomorrow makes it a month, June 26th. So there was a Variety article that came out originally where we did go over it and we did talk about it, just some of her comments and stuff like that, just generally discussing it and things like that. Well, she came out with another article, and this one it probably seems a little bit worse than what the original one was. Um, so in the original one, to paraphrase it, she basically talked about how there's certain groups of people who like to have possession of women's bodies and stuff like that. Now, obviously, everybody knows she's talking about men. Like, yeah, I think she said something in this article about it as well that we're about to go through on geeksandgamer.com. But but it was pretty obvious what she was talking about. And right now it sounds like the box office tracking for the movie is not doing very well, which we just had the Mandalorian and Grogu drop over this past weekend. And even then, I think that is not doing too well for its opening weekend. But obviously, we'll see because there's usually like a drop off from the first weekend to the second weekend. But as we get into this Geeks and Gamers article, Supergirl star Milly Alcock. I keep saying Adcock for some reason, but Supergirl star Milly Alcock attacks fans again, mocks Christian's dad, says it's okay to piss off the right people. So we're gonna go through this. Probably won't hit all of it because I do want you guys to go read the entire article yourself, but we're gonna like talk about some of it. The backlash surrounding Supergirl Milly Alcock is heating up once again after a lengthy new interview with Variety in which the actress doubled down on the previous criticism of fans, mocked critics she described as a dad of four Christian, and declared that if you're pissing off the right people, you're doing okay. And here's the thing. You're not, because you need these kind of people to show up to your movie for it to be profitable. If these people don't show up, then your movie's in trouble. Um, so the Millie Alcock, so she reignites the controversy. Much of the controversy stems from Alcock's revisiting backlash tied to HBO's House of the Dragon fandom. In the interview, Variety framed criticism surrounding the series as part of a toxic subset of fandom writing, despite the show's success as the first season rolled out. Something it happened on the internet. A toxic subset of the House of the Dragon fandom pitted the young actors who became immediate fan favorites against their adult counterparts. Now, basically, what she is saying, I believe, now is she's either saying people were putting the actors themselves, like Alcock playing the young Rhaenyra, to the actress who would play the much older Rhaenyra, or she's talking about from a book adaptation standpoint. So there's not really clear on which one she's leaning towards. For all I can tell, a lot of people they like Millie Alcock in House of the Dragon. They thought she was probably the more highlighted things about that first season. Like, the first season was relatively good. I believe I did watch it all. I haven't watched the second season, but she was a relatively good actress in that show. Um, These viral, ugly sentiments expressed on Reddit, YouTube, social media broke my heart. Alcock said of the controversy, Variety stated. Reddit is not a Reddit is just Reddit is Reddit. It has some of the worst people. It just has the worst people. It's like Tatooine. You won't find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than on Reddit, for the most part. For the most part. It should be noted that fans preferring one cast over another on a television show isn't an ugly sentiment. It's fans, aka customers, making their preferences known. As former Superman actor Henry Cavill once said, it's a fan's right to whatever opinions they want to have. And people are going to be upset, especially when you're talking about books or games, because you're never going never going to be the exact person who they had in their head or who they played on The Witcher 3, for example. I don't necessarily consider that toxic. I consider that passionate. And yeah, that is a very, very thing. Because Henry Cavill is somebody, I believe he loves the Witcher books. I think Highlander and some other things like that. And he was very passionate about playing. He wanted to play Geralt how Geralt is portrayed in the books, but the people in charge of the show did not want to do that, and we even see how bad the show got as it went on with its season, and then ultimately Liam Hemsworth coming in as the new Geralt, which a lot of fans were not happy about. They were not happy with Henry Cavill basically being let go from it, and a lot of people liked Henry Cavill as Superman as well. Um, The piece then, of course, escalated the rhetoric further by framing fan disagreements through a gendered lens. The the entire plot of House of the Dragon is tragedy that these two young women who love each other fall out because the men around them want them to be divided to serve their own patriarchal Game of Thronesy agendas, Variety claims. I mean, again, I would say that's probably more of the show because it all depends on like how much of these characters are in the books and stuff like that. Like for instance, if Allison is not a, I mean, she's a major character, but like let's say if she wasn't a major character in the books, and if the show made her a much more important character, then in that situation, it's not you're not going by the books. You're just inserting your own thing into the show. For many readers, however, this once again crossed the line from criticizing online harassment into broadly painting fan criticism, particularly criticism from the male audience, as inherently toxic or misogynist. Yeah, so let's see. Alcock doubles down on earlier comments. So this is going more into the recent Variety article that came out the previous week. Uh, Revisited comment. I feel like Variety did this on purpose because they knew it would get clicks. Like I think Milly Alcock is a good actress. I think she's fine. You would think, and I'm just broadly speaking, you would think a lot of these actors and actresses would have PR training on what to say and what not to say. Look at somebody like Tom Cruise, who's probably the real last Hollywood star that we have. You hardly ever see him, say anything negative to like the fan base and stuff like that. When you had Top Gun Maverick come out, or not no no not Top Gun Maverick, but the recent, maybe not recent, but the Mission Impossible that came out last year, I believe. He was thanking the fans, and he tells you how much he appreciated them for going to see the movie and everything. He gets it. Like at the end of the day, you can't attack the people and then expect them to come and see your movie or your project or whatever. And it's just not going to happen. They're not going to do it. But Tom Cruise is a general, because I remember him sending out like a post on his Instagram, I think it was, thanking the fans for coming to see the movie, for all the support and stuff like that. And guess what? Uh, People showed up for it. Like maybe the movie, I don't know how well the movie did, but I mean, people showed up for Top Gun Maverick, and look how well that movie does. And I'm sure with with the third one that they're working on now, you're probably gonna have a huge box office numbers for that one. Because when you treat the fan base or the people in particular positively, they'll go and they'll show up to watch your movie or whatever. But if you attack them negatively, that's not going to happen. It's come on now. You catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. Um, so back to the article, Alcock said, simply existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. We have become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. When discussing the backlash to those remarks, Alcock complained that people interpret her comments as criticism directly at men. I didn't even say men. I said people, she insisted. How? Okay. And they got so angry. I was like, you're proving my point. You're proving my point. So she says here, I didn't even say men. I said people. Here's the problem. Everybody knew who you were talking about. Like, and for you to just come out and be like, see, you're proving my point, when your point, no, it's not proven. Not if everybody already knew you're specifically talking, you didn't come out and say it, yeah, but everybody knew you were talking about men. Like, what are we doing? So, but the most controversial portion of the interview came later when she openly mocked the types of social media accounts criticizing her. So, like, whether these are real or fake, what I don't really know. But yet, there's this one, Data for Christian. In one of the interview's most eyebrow raising moments, Alcock mocked the kinds of people she sees criticizing her online. I guess women know that this is just how it always been. Again, she's just painting this whole uh, male versus female conversation. She said, once more, a gendered line in the sand. She then dismissed many critics as anonymous internet users before singing out Christian fathers specifically. And I believe this is what she said. And it's from a lot of those whose profiles have no photo, who are burner accounts, she said, or someone's name someone's name, and then data for Christian, which is hilarious to me. Then came the line that is now rapidly spreading online. But I mean, whose opinion do you really care about? If you're pissing off the right kind of people, you're doing okay. For many DC and superhero fans, the comment reinforced a growing belief that Hollywood increasingly views portions of its audience uh, with outright contempt, especially more traditional or conservative viewers. And we do see that a lot in a ton of Hollywood. You had the boys, which I believe some people said was equally making fun of both the left and the right. But as the seasons went on, it became relatively obvious, even in this last season, they were making fun of Trump. You had Daredevil Born Again, with the director talking about um, Trump influence and stuff like that. You have South Park. South Park, its recent season or recent maybe season or two, ever since Trump got into office again, consistently, they're all their episodes were consistently about Trump, and it's pretty clear Hollywood is very left leaning. Everybody knows that. So a lot of times their projects demonize those who may have conservative values, and it just grows more and more, especially with the introduction of like DEI and stuff like that into film and video games. A lot more people have became aware of this, and it's easy to call it, even though you have people online who are like, no, you're just a bigot. They'll call you all the names under the sun. If you're somebody who is conservative, 9 times out of 10, these kind of comments, it's it is what it is. But yeah, but not the best time to anger the DC fan base is actually true. Alcock's comments come at a delicate time for DC's new cinematic universe. Alienating audiences and disparaging fans isn't the best strategy when the DCU is struggling to justify its existence. Obviously, because Superman did not perform very well. It was only in theaters for like a month. Um, you got Supergirl right now was probably tracking not to do very well. You got Clayface in October. You're not doing very well with this whole situation. While discussing the pressure surrounding Supergirl, Roddick acknowledged that Gunn Superman was far from the massive success many expected. Yeah, it was not. It was not a success. So last summer, Superman Gunn's first official movie DCU, they made more than $600 million at the box office, which was considered a promising beginning, but not a home run. That line stands out because DC Studios entertainment media spent many months attempting to frame Superman as a major victory for the reboot. They did. They did. So, um, but yeah, yeah, that's mainly. However, surrounding the film's profitability have persisted for months. I even did a couple of videos. I actually did a video a while back before the first Variety article came out because I was talking about where Supergirl sits in terms of movie release. It's not in a very good spot whatsoever. There is too much competition going on around it. So, like for instance, you got this week, this upcoming week on the 29th, you got the Backrooms movie. Now that won't really affect Supergirl, but if you go and look what's coming, it paints it paints a very dangerous picture for Supergirl because you got then next week you got Masters in the Universe. Scary Movie 7 comes out in June. I believe Minions 4 comes out in June. Um, you got Spider-Man and the Odyssey coming out in early parts of July. There's some other stuff too that's coming out that's gonna probably draw. Toy Story 5 comes out in either June or July. I think it's June, honestly. So there are a lot of movies that are coming out around Supergirl's release or during Supergirl's release that it's just not gonna be. It's gonna be tough because it's probably gonna have a lot more people's attention to these other projects than anything else. Now we'll see how the Odyssey does with because that whole debacle is a whole different story in and of itself right now. Spider-Man probably seems to be the main one that could potentially hit $1 billion when it drops in early or late June, July. I mean, sorry. Toy Story 5 is definitely going to draw some audiences. Scary Movie 7 is it more than likely going to draw in some audience as well, especially if they're going the route of we don't care if your feelings are hurt. We're gonna make fun of everybody. The way these scary movies have been over the years. So it is just a very dangerous situation for Supergirl and to come out and just say these kind of things, whether right or wrong, is not really the point. You need these people to show up in the theaters for your movie. Otherwise, it's gonna be a flop and you're gonna be out of a job. And so and you've kind of seen this starting to happen a lot with a lot of these projects when you either make movies for a specific audience and that audience doesn't show up, your movie's gonna flop. We've seen it with Star Wars when they cater to a specific group of people within the Star Wars fandom. Guess what? You alienated the large majority of the people who enjoyed Star Wars fans just to appease a 10% of the fan base. And guess what? That 10% isn't enough to justify these high budget, shows and movies. So you need at the end of the day, you can hate what people say online with all you want, but you need them to show up for your movie. So, but that's basically where I'm going to end with the article because I do want you guys to go and read it yourself. But just drop in the comment section, tell me what you guys think. And we'll see how Supergirl does later in June, on June 26th. But guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, you can hit that subscribe button. You can also find me on the Shawnee D Main Gaming channel, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, the Nerd Talk podcast on Spotify. All that you can find down in the description below. Thank you again for hanging out. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.